coils. Okay? We're going to talk coils. We're going to talk more advanced coils. Now, if you haven't watched my previous video called Advanced Coils, you need to watch that. Because none of this is going to make sense. Okay? So I don't want any, lost puppies boo-hooing with stupid questions in the comments. So you go watch that video. I'll put the link below. We're going to be talking advanced coils. We're going to be talking advanced mesh coils, okay? And the different types of meshes that go into a mesh coil. Also some subclasses of mesh coils. This is advanced stuff, and if you don't know what a mesh coil is going into this, I think your cartoons are on now. Go on. I'm going to show you some pictures of some coils I made up as examples. You got two different kinds of meshes in just a basic mesh coil. Structural mesh, which gives it body, and then an uneven mesh. An uneven mesh focuses the weave tighter in one spot, and that's where you want your hot spot. You might also do your resistances or the types of metals. But you want the hot spot to be where you want it to be, right? So let's jump into this. I'm going to show you a coil as a simple mesh, and then I'm going to show you the same coil as a heat-rigged mesh, okay? So let's take this first look over here. I've got, where is it? Okay, this is a chum coil. And as you can see, it's a shark, right? It's a shark coil. And it's a very basic coil, all right? And you're a tough guy, and you're using, red e-juice on it, and it's chum. You're chumming the waters, okay? No biggie, right? So let's go on and look at a heat-rigged mesh coil version of a chum, okay? So here is, where is it? Here is now this is the same coil. It's a shark, it's a chum coil. This is a heat-rigged chum coil. Now you can see right off the bat, that's a different kind of mesh, right? Wrong, okay? It's not a mesh, it's a mush. And a mush is a muscular mesh. Now, this is a mesh that expands and contracts how you build it to, okay? This is a chum heat-rigged mesh. The mesh is a mush. Now, when you hit this coil, all right, you can see the mouth closes, you got a contracting mesh, and the mouth comes down every time you take a hit, all right? So hopefully when you see this coil, you're, imagining it coming up out of an ocean of e-liquid, about to sink its 400-watt teeth in your beanbag. And there's a lot of ways you wick these, okay? There's the popular trends, which, like most popular things, is a bad idea. And that is to fill up the drip well with cotton balls. You tease out the tops and you make it look like water, like the sharks, coming up out of the water. I don't know why it would do that, to maybe catch a flying fish in midair. I don't know. What I like to do, I like to make a little cotton guy, and I put it in the mouth of the shark, and then I just let him frickin' chomp the shit out of it, okay? So you can wick these how you want. It depends on what you like. It depends on the coil, but, use the cotton guy. Okay? All right, so here's another simple mesh coil, okay? This is called a have a bash, and, okay, so you see, it's a cricket bat. It's a cricket bat with nails in it, and it's, you use this. It's really easy. The nails are lower resistance than the bat. They heat up first, and you're a tough guy. So now we're going to look at a heat-rigged arc mesh coil of the exact same thing. So this is a have a bash, but this is a heat-rigged arc mesh. So here we go. Okay, and so right off the bat, you see, we got a lot more mesh going on. We got our ohms up. That's what we want. We want to get our ohms as high as we can get them, okay? So this is packing, this is about an 18 ohm coil, and you could make the whole thing scaled up bigger to get it to around the 20-25 ohm, which would be really good. Now some of you electrical engineer wannabes are going to be saying, it's 2 halves of a coil, you can't do that, each coil's connected to one post, what the hell? And I would say, shut up. It's a heat rig arc coil, shit lips, okay? And when you hit this, as you can see, the dude's gonna hit the zombie, right? Now, an arc coil is fiddly and tricky as hell, but the whole point is spit back, okay? If you've ever vaped straight arc, this is straight electricity, no coil. When you're vaping straight arc, it is a lot of spit back. And we want that in this coil because it adds an effect of bashing, the splatter of bashing, a zombie's head. And it kind of adds drama to the coil, right? And that's a good thing. Because we all love drama, apparently, in the vaping community. So it's a fun coil, it's an active coil, it puts on a show for you, and you just hit it, and you hit it, and hit it, and hit it, and hit it, and hit it. Now I want to show you a couple of advanced heat rig meshes, okay? Now this one, where is it? This one is called a Last Laugh, and alright, so you can see it. This is a really detailed organic build. A lot of crazy wraps going on here, a lot of links, and it's like a pile of some dude's bones, right? So, when you hit it, there's your last laugh, okay? This coil is saying from the beyond, F you in your effing F face, okay? Now, this is a tricky build here. There's a lot of heat points in that hand, there's a lot of bends. And you got to do, you're doing a gradient resistance weave up through that hand. So, it's a tough coil to get right. And, when I wick this coil, I sometimes go cotton afro, on the skull. Sometimes you can cut up Japanese cotton and you do like the rip clothes, like shreds of clothing around it. You can also do lots of little pools of cotton that you put all over it like maggots. But that's your call. Alright, so this next one is also pretty advanced, and that's called a shave and a haircut. And here it is. Alright, so this is, it's a guillotine, right? And it's a working guillotine. So, you use a chuff top on this, you could, possibly cut part of your lip off with it, okay? But don't worry, it's not going to bleed because it's going to cauterize it too. Now, this is a tricky build because of the mechanism, You got it's a 3 resistance mechanism. They got to work in tandem. They got to all be the right lengths to for this thing to work when you hit it. And when you wick it, you're going to make a little cotton guy, and you're going to put him down in there. You're going to put his head in the stock, and, let the good times roll, right? So that thing's going to come down when you take a hit, and this will cut your wick in half. You got to keep that in mind. It's going to cut your wick in half. So this last one, I wanted to show you guys kind of like the mesh coil that inspired me to be like, that's where I'm going. I'm going mesh coils, okay? This was the first mesh coil I ever saw. It was also the first mesh coil I ever hit, and it was the first mesh coil I ever successfully made. And to this day, I think it's probably the hardest mesh coil, the hardest hitting mesh coil, definitely in the top 3 hardest hitting mesh coils. It's just a simple mesh coil too. It does have one unique characteristic, and it's a screamer coil. This is it. It's the Reaper coil. This is the hardest hitting badass coil I think possibly ever. Like I said, it's a screamer coil, so when you hit it, it screams. It's kind of what's a screamer coil? Why do some tanks whistle? It's how they're made. And there's certain coils that you get e-liquid puddling in spots of the design of the mesh. It's in a hot spot, so it's filling up fast. It's atomizing fast. The resonance of the shape of the body with the vibrations from the intense vaporizing creates a scream. And it's not like a crackle. It's like a sort of like a tea kettle kind of scream sound. And you hit this thing, and it's screaming in your face, chucking vapor out like a banshee. You are most likely gonna voop your pants. Okay. You might voop someone else's pants. Actually, look at that thing. I mean, it's just the best. And when it comes to wicking these, again, there are popular methods that I tend to stay away from, which is, you do lots of little cotton balls as if it's standing on a mountain of skulls. Okay, it looks okay. I don't go that way. What I like to do is I like to make a little cotton guy, and I skewer him on the scythe, and then I pull strands of cotton down, or you can cut strips of Japanese cotton that looks like entrails hanging down to the juice well. And since the scythe is the hottest point on this coil, it's just a thing of it's violent. Okay, it's very violent. It's a very violent coil, and it sort of hits like a red hot sledgehammer swinging through your soul. I hope you are starting to get your head around the concept and maybe seeing some coils that, in a few years when you get your chops up, you might want to try to build someday. I'm getting a lot of emails, there's been some comments, and I need to, clarify. You don't use mesh coils on standard addies and, mods and standard batteries, okay? The only way you fire these coils is off of a task box. Now, I'm not going to get into how you build your own task box, but you build task boxes per your own personal specs, budgets. They can get crazy, they can be simple, but you're not firing these off of mods per se, okay? So that will be another one. I'll do that. I'll cover that in another one. But that's it. I'm RavenVapes. Vape hard.